Hello, welcome to Mystic AF. My name is Keelan Siobhan Clark, and today I have with me my friend Janet Barnett, who is not only such a badass chick and my rock and roll sister, but she's also the one who takes lots and lots of my photos. She is the master behind so many of those photos that you guys love. So my confident on camera really has a lot to do with Janet as well. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for asking me, baby.
Yeah. So before we started recording, we were talking about, first of all, my wedding planning, which ties into the topic of manifesting today. So
Okay.
Janet has questions about manifesting, and we just get to talk about it and talk it through. And if you guys have any comments or stories about manifesting, please, drop them in the comments. So what do you want to know about manifesting?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that for the last couple of years I've been hearing about, and occasionally, you run into someone who's like, I am such an incredible manifester. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? I need to know what this is. I need to know how to do it. I need to know how to make it work. It's like beyond just, I think I'd like to do such and such. It's like making it happen, making all the things happen. So
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, people actually do this. This is like for real. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like really into talking to people who have like the inside track and how to get the manifestation going.
Well, here's what I know about manifestation. Number one, everybody manifests.
That is
You know
true.
what came up for me when you're talking is that you manifested your daughter.
Oh yes, all humans are basically manifested out of thin air.
Well,
when you think about it, we are creating other people just kind of out of thin air.
Is it out of thin air though?
No, it's sort of out of thin air. But and I thought about in a few times in my life in the past, some situations where like, yeah, I totally manifested that shit. I didn't even know really what manifesting was at the time. But I put this request out into the universe and it happened.
That's manifesting.
I didn't even really realize it, that's what that was.
So that's why we get to be very, very grounded. And the word particular is coming to my head because especially if you're a powerful manifestor and you don't even realize it, you're probably manifesting shit in your life that you're like, oh, that actually happened, as opposed to being intentional and vision driven in creating the manifestation. You know what I mean? To speak in your language.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you asked me how to do it. How do you do it? I manifested $10,000 in December. Sweet.
Nice.
Great. And the story behind it's really boring.
Is it?
That, well, I would say, I mean, I can make it very logical as to why the money came to me and how it came to me and the fact that it was going to come to me. But the magic is that it came at the time I needed it the most. And it came at a time when I specifically was ready to receive it. So manifestation can be money. It can be humans. It can be experiences. I was just in Sedona over the weekend and I kept manifesting all kinds of crazy shit. I was like, whoa. I would just say something or think something. I wouldn't even say it out loud. But I would think it. And then the opportunity for it to exist would happen. So I was telling these girls I was with that Ernest Hemingway is one of my spirit guides. And he came to me very recently. And I'm a writer. And I when I write, I channel. My spirits channel through me. So I make up a story that it's very exhausting, that it's not me. And I don't want to just open that. But they're like, yo, you need to write. We need you to write. You need to write. The voices in my head, Janet, just to let you know, like the spirit guides. Okay. And so I did this deep meditation. It was about when the money came actually. And because there's alignment that happens here. I was doing a deep meditation and I was up in the cosmos and all of a sudden I was sucked back. I was sucked into Idaho, into Sun Valley, Idaho, to where Ernest Hemingway's favorite fishing spot was. And I'm in a meditation, right? It's all happening, and he's smoking, and he's like, "Keelan, you need to be writing," and he's like having this very like Ernest Hemingway like conversation with me, and I'm like, oh, why am I here with you? No, and I have a thought. I'm like, I don't even like your writing, and he's like, I know you don't like my writing, and it doesn't matter. You need to be writing. You still with me? Yeah. Okay.
I
So
was
I'm
just,
having.
I was
So
just thinking about that portrait of Ernest Hemingway, that
Oh.
very famous black and white portrait by Karsh. And
Mm,
I was envisioning that in my mind while you were talking.
great. Yeah, you're just picking which version of him. I love that. We'll
Yeah.
have to find a picture of it and post it here. So I'm having this conversation with him. I'm like, all right, Ernest Hemingway, like, fine. And I get out of this meditation and I start writing. I'm journaling and I'm writing. And in the morning when I'm like just not in control and I'm just letting it come through me. And I'm in Sedona. So that was a couple months ago. I'm in Sedona. And I casually mention, oh, Ernest Hemingway is one of my spirit guides. And two of the women I was with live in Sun Valley. They were the Jen and Meg who were on Friday. And they're like, oh, that's so great, blah, blah, blah. So we go to this hot yoga class. And the yoga teacher just, you know how like there's those yoga classes that are just so inspirational and they're taking you through a journey. Well, she begins and ends the class with an Ernest Hemingway quote.
Wow.
To me, that's manifestation. To me, that's, I mentioned something, an experience, a thing, and it ties it around. And it's the universe being like, yo, we got you. Yo, we're listening.
Yeah.
So I think that I believe, and I don't know if this is true. Who knows? I believe we all have the ability to manifest. The more powerful manifestors, one, declare and stand in commitment of that manifestation. And two, they're in action. And they're like, it's already done.
Yeah, that I can, I'll tell you a story. About 6-7 years ago, I manifested a portrait session, not of me being a photographer, but me being photographed by another photographer. And there was
Which,
a very
if you don't know
particular-
photographers, they hate being photographed.
not necessarily. We're just very particular about who we want to be photographed by.
Yeah,
And
got it.
and I manifested a session with this very well-known photographer, who's even more well-known now. And I was just like, God, I want to be shot by this person.
Mm-hmm.
And like a couple weeks later, an opportunity came up that I took, and I was like, I made that happen.
Yeah.
Out of like the ether.
Well, the ether, but also the vision. You had a vision, right? You're like, okay, this is what I want. Same thing happened with like, I'm getting married in April, and I was feeling like we're getting married in Greece, and I'm like, I didn't have any vision. My sister and I were talking, and she's like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, I want a fat ass villa with all my friends staying with me. And she's like, okay, let's make it happen. And I had all these stories. I had limiting beliefs. No one's going to come. No one's going to pay for it. There isn't even a place that exists. Like all of those stories. And then the opportunity arose. That's manifestation.
Yeah.
And it's, oh, hang on. Got the coworkers going crazy. 1 second. We got Darren chasing them out. Hey. I mean, they're very efficient at their jobs, but
That's funny.
And sometimes
I
I
hope
think
you're
we
paying them well.
Oh, very. They're paid very well. That's why they're so loud when they bark. They're like, we gotta do our job here. What were we talking about? Manifestation. The power of it. The power of acknowledging that we are manifestors. The power of acknowledging that we are creating the experiences that we have. I think that's really where the magic is. It's not really about the getting of the thing, but it's like, it's acknowledgement of how powerful we are.
Yeah. Well, my husband, Greg, and I manifested a winery. So
yeah,
there you
rock
go.
And roll at that.
Yeah. I mean, it took 30 years, but we didn't realize it 30 years ago that's where I think back on like that's where the seed got planted was on our honeymoon in Napa Valley. That's where the little wheels started turning where we're like, yeah, this is totally what we want to do. But it took 25 years to manifest it, but nevertheless,
And it took me 20 years to finish my creative writing degree. But once I like decided that I was going to finish it and like that was it. It was it. It was done.
Yeah.
Like it was done and like nothing could get in my way. And I think that everyone has that opportunity. That's where Darren and I went to Corfu, had only been dating 6 months. We were like, we ever get married? We'll get married here. It took 6 years.
Oh, is that how that came about? I was wondering. Okay.
We fall in love. We've fallen in love over and over again, but that was probably the second time we fell in love. Pretty early on.
That's the key to staying together. You have to keep falling in love over and over again.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah. You got any other marriage tips?
Yeah.
Great. Hit me.
This is assuming you want to stay married.
I do. I'm doing this once. And that's it.
I'm just taking this assumption. Assuming you want to stay married, this is the number one key to staying married. Don't leave.
Yeah.
Don't leave. And if he has the same intention to not leave when things get weird or boring or whatever, then you'll just stay there.
Yeah. In all honesty, I did a lot of my leaving earlier in our relationship. I was running away all the time.
Yeah.
breaking it down, and I love that because it gets just tiring. Won't.
I mean, you probably know people. I know people that have been married multiple times, and to me, multiple times is like 3 or more, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like kind of a lot to me for one lifetime, and they always probably hit the same point in the relationship at every point where they're like, I'm out.
Yep.
So the trick is to obviously get past that point and just stay there.
And that's manifestation too, manifesting the same cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Over.
Assuming you're not in a horrible, abusive, disastrous
Of course. Yeah.
That's obviously a different story. But if you're just in like kind of your, let's just say average marriage.
You hit that.
An average marriage is split up all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you just decide, let's just burn past this average part, we're both bored, whatever, let's just get through it.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
That's really all it is. Just don't leave. And my other tip is don't put fabric softener in with your towels.
Okay. We don't use fabric softener at all. We don't even use we don't even use dryer sheets anymore.
Fine. Perfect. Then you're set.
I love that. Okay. Done and done. I'm already most of the way there. I love it.
There you go. You'll be married forever, girl, and you'll have fantastic towels.
Great. Because he's planning to live till 115. So.
Oh. Well, that's
we're in it for a long haul.
And then you're thinking, oh, really? Are you? I didn't know I was going to plan on being married to you that long.
He's been pretty clear about that from the beginning. So, and he's 9 years older than me. So I got time.
Oh, okay. You do.
I love it. Anything else? Like, did that help open up a couple things about manifesting?
Yeah. I just think it's a fascinating topic. Don't you think it's fascinating? Like what people manifest and it's just amazing. It's just amazing that people can just come up with anything and make it.
And
happen.
I think people think they do it by accident. And when you really allow yourself to go back and look at like what sort of emotional you were in, what emotional state. And I have a saying that I teach my clients, and it's, think it, say it, write it, share it. Think it, say it, write it, share it. You're casting a spell. So when you think it, like you've got a million thoughts in your head. Yeah.
And that's true. And I think people often use different words for manifesting, that praying or putting a spell on something or doing a ritual. They're all versions of that, right?
Yeah. Whatever works for you. What works for me might work for you, might not. We're all different. So think it. We're going to think it anyways. And then you say it out loud. And then you write it down, or you can write it and then say it, whatever, and then share it with other people. See what happens.
I love that.
And don't be in a well, I wanted to manifest this yesterday. Well, you're not in control of the universe, so just trust and surrender, and it'll all
Yeah,
work out perfectly because it always does.
it does.
Yeah, it does. Yes. We're going to wrap up. Do you have a free gift? I think you have a free gift. Share with
I
people.
do. Since I am a photographer, and one of the first things people always ask me when they book a session with me is, "What am I going to wear?" This is the biggest question. I don't know what to wear. I have a PDF, a guide on what to wear in photos,
Cool.
and they can get that from me.
I love that. We'll drop it into the link because I think I have it right here.
Even
And
if you're just going for a headshot, it helps sort out your business.
or if you're just going on Zoom.
Yeah. I got to get out of this. I got to talk to my stylist, Amanda, and stop manifesting black t-shirts is what I'm into now. So I need some color.
You look great. You're fine.
You're a
little hot pink. Thank you for joining us. Come back again soon. I love your questions. And guys, we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for joining us as always. And put in your transformation, your manifestation stories, tips, tricks, and even a little marriage advice would be great. If you're not married, I don't want to hear it. I love you. Bye.